This program is brought to you by Tab. Long may we play.
Here we are at the Richmond Riding For Disabled Association, and this is Elton by Red Ransom, one of the wonderfully cared for and absolutely loved retired racehorses here that gives so much joy to not only young people but also, as you'll see, to some older people as well. I'm Caroline Searcy and welcome to the final episode of Series 1 of Thoroughbreds Argo for 2022. We have some great stories coming up. Firstly, we're here at Richmond RDA to hear how our first story on Thoroughbreds Ago brought extra sponsorship to help their thoroughbreds, which of course helps the young and older riders get off the ground. And Champion South Australian jockey Clare Lindop and her role with Racing SA, using retired racehorses to teach a new generation of jockeys and track riders. And Arrowfield studs Strapper's stories, rounding out the season with another stable hand's love for an ex-racehorse. That's all coming up this week on Thoroughbreds Argo. This segment brought to you by Inglis, the Great Southern Weanling and Broodmare Sale, June 9 and 10 in Melbourne. 2 years ago on Thoroughbreds Argo, we featured the RDA Centre here at Richmond in New South Wales and their two thoroughbreds, Elton and Gibson, who bring so much joy to young riders and old alike. We're back here again to hear about some great donations that they've received since that program and how they're always looking for more and for volunteers to help with these great thoroughbreds and these inspiring riders. It's been a long couple of years since we last met here at the Richmond RDA, and of course going through COVID there were so many tricky times where kids couldn't come out and ride these horses, but it's so good to see RDA Richmond here back with the kids and the adults with disabilities enjoying these thoroughbreds Gibson and Elton. Of course we're now in their late teens.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the sheer joy on the faces of the guys today. Overcoming COVID, it has been a challenge. We're back in now and we're running on full throttle. And we're just amazing seeing them today, just riding around and smiling and happy. And you know, my old adage of bums in saddles and smile on faces, that's what we're all about, and it's just been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty windy day. We're right in the middle of this really strong cold front moving through New South Wales, and in particular Gibson and Elton, they didn't bat an ear or an eyelid at all because they're so used to what they're doing. I mean, yes, they've been doing this for some time, but it really is a great indication of what a thoroughbred can do. Going
forward, I think we've got options now as we're starting to open up fully on another two thoroughbreds, and I think, you know, we will take those when we're ready, and people are always waiting to ride, and if they turn out as well as Gibson and Elton, the thoroughbred just makes such a wonderful RDA horse because they're so intelligent, they're clever, and you've seen them today. They just do what they need to do, and they don't get fuddled or the wind or anything. Some horses would. Some horses wouldn't even like this weather today. Yeah. So it's absolutely great, and we're so pleased that we got them.
He's on the home run. He's almost in a trot. And Elton, I was lucky enough to jump on. But Bianca does dressage. She's also doing, you know, you use the arena to, you know, so she's using both sides of her body as well with the sword, getting the hoops off, and it gives her such a wonderful feeling, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, she is one of those riders this is her only major enjoyment, and she so looks forward to doing it. And you know, who would look at Elton as a dressage horse? And yet, once he gets in the arena and everybody has got all their fine regalia on and looking the part, he just performs outstanding. And Gibson is exactly the same. They just transform. You can't believe that they were once running around a racetrack. And the riders like Bianca, it's about that connection. And when they connect with those horses, you can just see it just matching together. With somebody like Bianca, who says sitting in the saddle gives her freedom. I think that probably sums up a lot of the guys that come to ride here. It gives them that independence. There's a horse there that's connected with them and they're riding, and they're just together, they just make a wonderful pair. Separate, back in the wheelchairs, back on the crutches and struggling in life, but that bit of freedom is just such a wonderful feeling, I think.
It's a good experience and it's fun and I learn a lot of skills.
It's been a wonderful experience for Bianca from the start. It's just given her so much confidence. Since we came here, the environment has just been so welcoming. The volunteers and the coaches just accept them and build their self-esteem. And it's just been, I think, the best thing that she's experienced in her life in terms of just lifting her spirits, meeting people, building confidence and just feeling great about herself.
They make me smile a lot.
And is it the happiest part of your week coming here?
Yes, it is. I love it so much.
She's just so happy. I see her smile for an hour and she's just completely different on the horse. She's confident, sits up straight, and it's just wonderful.
I like letting the horse putting them away because it gives me independence. Yeah.
Victory lap around the arena.
A victory lap?
Yeah, all by myself.
Fantastic. Without a lead, right?
I have to ask you for the reins because I've got them right here.
And then it was so great. I mean, we talk about, you know, young kids coming out and participating in Riding for Disabled, but Ziggy at 75 years old, what an absolute hoot he is. What a character with his medal and you know, wanting to really excel and race and win the race, the barrel race as well with Matt. He's just an outstanding character.
There's no limits to, you know, age is just a number, I think they say. Well, there's somebody who I wished I looked as young as he does. Because he certainly doesn't look his age. This is his major attraction. He when he leaves his care home, he comes here and he's so excited. And he was so excited to be part of today, and you can probably tell that. But that's the effect it has on all of them. And you know, particularly, we don't have really young kids here at the moment. Adults don't end at 50, you know. And if I dare say, Ziggy won't be the oldest one we've ever had. So it's lovely to see that they still want to participate and still absolutely enjoy riding. Muscle toning, focus, just riding past something and picking it up so you've got the dexterity and use of the fingers and grip. Learning the opposite of holding the reins gently but still being in control and holding them correctly so that maybe one day there will be a dressage rider and the control will just be using the small fingers. So we try and teach them that. It's the social skills, the competitive skills, you know, when you've got 3 or 4 riders and they're all having little peg races and things like that. And we don't have losers. Everybody's a winner, you know. So if there's a little race going on, it's about everybody winning. We don't care if they come last, you know, and we don't mention last. It's not a word we use.
And wonderful to see Matt back again on Gibson. I mean, he's such a character as well, and he was a former rider, so he knows the skills, but I just love every time seeing him, the love he has for the horse and the wonderful warm pats and hugs as he gets off. He really loves these thoroughbreds.
Yes, I think from an early age, prior to his accident, he was destined to be a good rider, you know, local shows and stuff like that. So he has that recall where he goes, and you can see his face change when he goes, oh, I should be doing that. Then sadly you see a little bit of frustration because he can't do that. But I've never ever seen him once be bad to a horse, kick a horse, get upset with the horse. He might get upset with one or two of the volunteers, but he doesn't ever, take it out on the horse. That connection he has is just wonderful to see. And Elton, he's a thoroughbred. He's ultra intelligent. When Matt gets on his back, he knows it's Matt. So there's a slightly different behaviour from the horse to when you jumped on him. You jumped on him, his ears are up, he's prancing around. When Matt's on him, he knows, the horse knows exactly what to do.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Absolutely. Yeah. Disability shouldn't be a barrier. There's opportunities in RDA for youngsters to go and ride on kids' Saturday riding, as well as the service we offer here for the more mature riders. But the opportunity is to ride in dressage competitions, to barrel race, to be involved in local competitions. It shouldn't be beyond anybody, and if there's youngsters out there that you feel that they would like the opportunity, then contact the local RDA centre near to them and go along and see how it all works. I tell you, if they don't end up riding, I'll be very surprised.
Some of the donations, I know from our first show you wound up with one particular wonderful donation. It's really important, isn't it, that people actually contribute to help feed the horses and help make this all run?
Yes, we are self-funded charity. It's making that communication, making that connection. Recently we did a race day at Hawkesbury Race with the Hawkesbury Race Club, linked to the Thoroughbreds that gave them the idea to invite us along. We have the likes of, from the last film, Arrowfield Stud. Absolutely amazing connection there. And Godolphin are now on board, the local Dolphin. Fairview Stud is another one, a local stud. The breeders have all got involved because I think it's so important now to see these thoroughbreds people being made aware of what they can do and making use of these horses, and we just benefit. Getting sponsorship, money, keeping them fed, it's constant demand on the funds that we've got. So any contributions, we're always grateful to receive.
The volunteers, I mean, Mel and Bruce and everyone else here today, they're doing it in their own time. And that's the real key, isn't it? To encourage people to come. If you want to get your horse fixed, come out here to an RDA centre and you can bring them in, you can brush them, you can be close to horses and you can really help the RDA.
As much as the riders get out of coming riding here, the volunteers also get a lot of coming and just connecting with the horses, being involved with the horses, helping the riders, and the interaction between the riders and the volunteers is amazing. In Australia, volunteering is a badge of honour and it actually is on people's resume. We would like more people to come along and get involved, just even from a couple of hours a day to a whole day or do the whole week and come and get your horse fixed. It's just as important for the volunteers to get something out of it as it is the riders. I'm a hard-nosed retailer, so to come into something like this and volunteering because I had a bit of spare time, I got the bug. And it makes you feel good, it gives you a feel-good factor. It's just so rewarding to do something for nothing that makes people happy. Bums in saddles, smiles on faces, call it what you like. It's that sense of warmth that you get when you see these guys and, I get a snotty, runny nose and I feel sorry for myself and I look at somebody who gets up out of a wheelchair, gets on one of these thoroughbreds and rides around with a smile on their face, I really don't feel sorry for myself anymore.
Always wonderful seeing Ian and the brilliant volunteers. And if you'd like to help the Richmond RDA, you can find them online. Every little bit helps. Coming up on Thoroughbreds Are Go, champion jockey Clare Lindop finds thoroughbreds to be the perfect beasts to help train a new generation of jockeys and track riders. This segment brought to you by Kingstar Farm. Time to Reign's first foals arriving in 2022. As a jockey, Clare Lindop was an inspiration to so many people. The first Australian woman to ride in a Melbourne Cup, to win a Group 1, to ride 100 winners in a season and take out the SA Jockeys Premiership. Clare continues to be an inspiration in her work with the Racing SA Trackwork Riders Skills Course, and she's using Thoroughbreds to train up a new generation of jockeys and track riders.
Tequila Time took the lead though. Tequila Time moved clear.
She's having her final South Australian Carnival. She's about to hang up the boots.
And ridden by Clare Lindop. We have to mention what a magnificent job Clare has done over many years as a rider here in South Australia and her successes interstate. And we will certainly miss her presence here at the races. So congratulations, Clare.
Clare, it's fantastic to see you so involved with Racing SA and the Trackwork Riding Skills Course. I think Racing SA is pretty happy to have you there. I mean, you have so much experience. It must be so rewarding to pass some of that on to a new generation.
Oh, thank you, Carolyn. Yeah, I think the position I've taken up with Racing SA is a newly created role in career development. And it's something I'm actually quite passionate about, teaching those foundation skills. I think when you see apprentice jockeys in full flight of their career, they've learned to ride prior to that, and a lot of that sort of foundation work and horsemanship skills comes at the beginning. And the certificate that we do with the Cert 3 Trackwork Rider is so important and imperative now in that next step into racing, whether it be to apprentice jockey or whether it just be involved in the stables. And just, I really enjoy, I guess, teaching my love of horses and my passion for horses and the care that comes with that.
Clare Lindop will win the derby on Rebel Raider.
Well, we'll talk about the use of the off-track thoroughbreds shortly, but just a little bit of your background for people that might not have been following racing that long, or if they're from the equestrian world. Obviously, you were the first Australian woman to ride in a Melbourne Cup. You won the 2008 Victoria Derby on Rebel Raider, 2003-4, first to ride 100 winners in a season, and the first woman to win a Group 1 on Exalted Time in the Adelaide Cup. I mean, it's quite a history. You know, these riders are very lucky to have you with that level of experience.
Oh, very kind of you to say that. For me, it's about, during my career when I first started, it was quite tough industry. I mean, it's still a very tough sport. You have to be fit and strong at your game. But so I guess my background, I started in the late 90s. I had some great teachers help me learn to ride. And I guess at the other end, I sort of feel that I'm helping the young riders of this generation coming through. And my career has been, you know, sort of full of peaks and troughs like everyone in racing. The sort of resilience that I've had to learn and the strength, not only just physical strength I had to learn to be strong, you know, being small I had to work hard to be at the top of my game, but also the mental strength that comes with that. And a lot of that becomes to with experience and horsemanship knowledge and understanding. And I guess what I'm enjoying about this Cert 3 Trackwork Riding program is having retired racehorses teaching the next generation and sort of teaching the overall horsemanship skills and just things that you can do as a rider, which makes a difference in the horse. And one of my favourite expressions I got taught was, a horse becomes a better horse when a rider becomes a better rider. And I really subscribe to that theory.
And you obviously have a fabulous love of the thoroughbred. Tell me why these thoroughbreds are so good for teaching a new generation to ride. I guess they all have different quirks and different sort of things that make them, you know, either a little bit easier to ride or a little bit harder for the riders to actually get their heads around.
One of the hardest things, I think, for racehorse trainers who are small business owners is giving a new rider that starting point. And using some retired racehorses, we're able to sort of pick the right horses at the end of their career to help teach new riders. I guess I've looked for horses, and John Cornell, our Equine Welfare Officer here in Racing SA, has really been crucial in this as well. We've found horses with different age group, different temperaments, different sizes, so our riders are getting a really whole experience of, you know, a horse who might be 3 years old and still learning its own craft and getting us understanding of its action. And we've got an older horse, 11, 12-year-old horse, Keeper Kiwi, who I actually rode in a race when I was riding as well. And it's funny, he's a little bit crafty, and if you don't ask him to do the right thing, he's quite happy not to do it. So I guess having the different temperaments of the racehorses has been a really great learning tool for the young riders, but it's also a safer environment, so it's more controlled. We are looking at an arena environment where we've got horses who are now a little bit used to ride in the arena, and so we can practice and get the 2-point position right for the riders, and the bridging the reins and understanding the different techniques that you use as a track work rider, which is completely different to equestrian style. So we're really able to use thoroughbreds for that because it becomes real-time practice. And so when eventually the students doing this skill set training go to a racehorse trainer as a trainee to finish their Cert 3, they're going to actually be workplace ready and also keeping the rider safe in their new environment, as well as obviously they're going to be riding very well-bred, expensive thoroughbreds and giving those thoroughbreds, a rider who is going to help them, equine athletes, reach their full potential as well.
A little click up, click him up, click him up, click him up, click him up, that's it. That's it.
There's a lot of pride, I think, for some of the owners of horses. So Heroes Quest owners, I actually rode Heroes Quest in a race as well. They keep asking me for updates now and how he's going with his next part of his career, teaching the new riders. So it's great to see the owners have followed their horses into this new pathway as well. So they're very much loved and looked after. And Keeper Kiwi's one of his trainers, Christy Evans. She actually had him in the paddock retired and just getting fat, she said. And he's loved coming back into a stable and being pampered and rugged and fed 3 times a day again. So it's been great to see those horses enjoy it as well.
I was really interested in track work riding because I really love horses, and I think racing is a great industry to get into. And so I've always been really intrigued by track work riding, and so I thought this was a great opportunity to get into the industry and learn a lot about it. I really want to go into a job track work riding and maybe doing some strapping at a stable. I think that would be awesome.
Well, everything's been like an eye-opener for me, like with not much experience myself. Coming down and just doing everything and just learning everything has been, it's been really good. Working with the ex-racehorses has been great. Compared to the racehorses, the ones down the track, they're a lot calmer, they're a lot easier to work with, I reckon. And they're great to learn on. They've shown me a lot of things that you don't always get down the track with the racehorses, so it's been good. After I finish the program, it'll be great to finish my traineeship and get my Cert 3 down at Moorfield, doing a fair bit more track riding down there, improving, and then see how far I can go with it, see what else I can do.
So today I've got the students going together in pairs. I've got Tanisha on Keeper Kiwi and Bethany on Reclusive Lad, and they're learning pace and understanding control and steer and the speed that they're going.
The budget you're working on in South Australia, we're only talking about, with obviously the lower prize money, etc., and a smaller sort of state. It really is a collaborative effort, isn't it, to run the program?
We're really hoping that the outcome of this first course, which has been a new course for Racing SA, it's the first time Principal Racing Authority has run a course like this, that we can actually take some learnings from this, and hopefully we can run it again, and also again ask for support from our government again, which has been fantastic, the support we have had, and in getting new people from out of the industry into the industry and seeing them the careers they can have in racing. And I remember when I first started ever riding and racing, from a little bit of equestrian background, where it's quite expensive to ride horses, to think I was going to work for a racing stable and they were going to pay me to ride a horse. When I was 16, I thought this is just a dream come true. So that's the kind of people that you want to encourage coming into our industry, that love of the horse, the passion for riding, and understanding the career you can have in racing, and it can take you anywhere in the world, and the sky's the limit of where racing can take you. I've been very fortunate in my own career to have ridden overseas, internationally competed, and all throughout Australia, and to show track work riders and stable hands that they can have that sort of journey, all from the love of the horse, is exceptional.
They're so trainable, aren't they, when they come off the track? Why do you love thoroughbreds so much?
Why do I love thoroughbreds? It's a huge question. I think when I first got involved with horses, riding horses and having that connection with an animal, you know, brings a bit of joy riding a horse, and I guess when I think about riding in a race and igniting that sort of instinct in the horse to want to be at the front of the pack, and they're competitive animals, and to want to be at the front of the pack, and there's nothing like it at the front in a race and going away to the winning post, and just seeing the horse getting a lot of pride out of winning a race as well. And now seeing at the other end where they're actually, we're schooling them, I suppose, to be a little bit quieter in the arena, getting them into track work riders with riders who might be sometimes giving them the incorrect signals, and they kind of understand their job now, and seeing them grow into it has been really rewarding as well. So it's been great.
A great story there, and thanks to Clare Lindop and Racing SA for their support of Thoroughbreds Argo. Coming up after the break, Arrowfield Studs Strappers Stories.
The most spectacular horse that I've ever looked after would have to be Flying Spur. Watching him come through as a yearling, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old, watching race on to become one of the nicest, most prestige stallions, and watching his progeny come through is marvellous, especially having seen Casino Prince come through. You can see that his father did stamp his progeny very well through that horse. He was very boisterous, he was very loud, and he told you that he was here. Whether it was rearing up or dancing on his hind legs or calling out, he made his presence shown, and he stamped his presence every time he came into the yard. So it was a pleasure dealing with him. Plus he was also a very good looking horse. Every single offspring, fillies and colts, they had a presence about them. They showed that Danehill bloodline come through, and watching especially his 2-year-olds and Forensics winning the Golden Slipper was, you know, it's a dream come true to see your progeny win big races. Watching him go from a child to an adult has been quite mind-blowing, just to see the progeny that he's stamping and then go on to be a leading sire. That's a dream come true for any owner and anybody that's looking to go into the game, because that's what can happen. You can watch him grow from a yearling right through to a leading stallion, and that's what we're all aiming for and hoping for in this game.
That is Thoroughbreds Argo for Series 1 in 2022. A huge thank you to our major sponsor TAB and other sponsors Arrowfield Stud, Inglis, Godolphin Lifetime Care, Kingstar Farm, Thoroughbred Breeders Australia and Chris Waller Racing. I'll be back in the spring with more stories of thoroughbreds excelling away from the racetrack. I'm Caroline Searcy. I look forward to seeing you then.
This program is brought to you by TAB. Long may we play.